If you haven't already heard, the Ruinous Powers Prayerbook has been fully scrapped by Jagex, which was going to be the new prayer book coming out with Desert Treasure 2. So I have taken it upon myself to brainstorm some ideas that I would like to see change with the standard prayer book that we already have, which originally was my idea. Instead of releasing an entirely new prayer book, we could just release 4 new prayers, for example, because there is a line here. I mean, there's like a gap where we could add more prayers and this thing would just get removed. But I've actually been thinking a little bit outside of the box, where it's not necessarily 4 new prayers, but maybe 1 new prayer and some adjustments to older prayers. So this is literally just going to be me throwing out ideas, throwing shit at the wall. So guys, down in the comments, as always, let me know if this is totally just a horrible idea. Let me know what you would like to see change, maybe ideas of your own. And yeah, we'll just have a little discussion. So first thing first is I would like to see Augury finally be given some damage buff. Because we're not getting a new prayer book, I think it actually would be appropriate for this to actually just be changed this is my idea, so hear me out. I would like to see Augury give 5% magic damage boost when attacking, but also a 5% damage negation when getting attacked if you're praying this. So technically, if you're in a PvP situation and somebody's using Augury, you could pray Augury as well and just cancel out the damage boost. But for most all PvM encounters, you would get that extra 5% magic damage boost. But in response to this, to not just make it a total huge significant buff to magic, one thing I would love to see is the occult necklace get slightly nerfed. I know that sounds really just like don't touch stuff, but the occult is so busted, guys. It's a 10% magic damage boost. I would personally love to see this knocked down to 6% personally, but I would be okay if the occult was just dropped to 8%. I honestly think occult has been broken for the longest time. It's like the equivalent of what void used to be, where it was supposed to be 10%, but it was actually acting as 20%. Honestly, I don't think it would be that big of a deal. If they did just make an outright change, this would not be like a drop or anything. This would literally just be changing how Augury works to make it a 5% damage and negation as well, and then just changing the occult outright to 8%. This is my idea behind it all. In my perfect, I'm saying 8% just to make not that big of a difference. But in a perfect world of mine, what I would really like to see is occult go down to 6%, tormented go down to 4% from 5%, and the eternal boots be given a 1% or 2% potentially damage, and then the Seer's ring, wherever I put the Seer's ring, the Seer's ring would be given 1% as well. So it's basically just saying it's actually worth bringing switches, because for the most part, most stuff is just accuracy, which generally doesn't matter because so many bosses in this game just have 0 magic defense. So anyway, but I want to keep things simple. So my proposal is make Augury 5% more damage, 5% damage reduction when praying it, and that would go from all sources. So if a monster's attacking you with mage and you're praying Augury, you'd also get a 5% guaranteed damage reduction if you're praying this. So yeah, that's just my proposal, because in so many situations, you're just never going to be praying Augury. I mean, look at Nightmare. Half the fight is attacking pillars and I know they're not monsters, they're pillars. You're just charging them. But what would be cool is if, you had a prayer that actually, helps out a little bit and can, give you a 5% damage boost. So anyway, my thoughts, drop the occult down from 10% to 8%. And yeah. So that is just outright. Now, here is what I would like to see from Desert Treasure 2. Currently, there is just a tiny little handful of rewards coming out from the 4 bosses. So I think it would be appropriate to give some rewards, some prayer rewards from those. And they could just be given through like scrolls or something like that, similar to Chambers of Zarek. So what I would like to see is one absolutely brand new prayer called Judgment. And yes, I've been talking about the prayer Judgment for a long time. Ever since Jagex came out with their version of Judgment, they were proposing a prayer called Judgment that was going to be released with Theater of Blood, but that ended up not passing. Or I don't know if it just didn't pass or if they scrapped it or something, but their idea was a little bit different than mine. Mine is just 50% additional accuracy, and I think it would be actually appropriate for it to just be melee. So 50% accuracy with melee. Although I would be okay as if it was 50% accuracy from all sources, including magic. The problem with making it all sources is that Augury only has a 25% currently. But if Augury was changed to 5% damage, then you would always be praying to Augury for the most part. And then you'd have Judgment, just in case you wanted to, get additional magic accuracy without the bonuses. So I'd be okay if it was just melee, or if it was all styles, 50%. It would be probably a level 80 or a level 85 prayer, which, so it would basically be used for specking, or if you just really want to hit, you could just pray Judgment, and it would not be an overhead. Overheads would stay the same right here. This would simply just be like an additional piety. So you can't pray both at the same time. It would just be an exclusive prayer, mainly for specking. So that would be one scroll that you would get from one of the bosses. The other scroll would be a buff to prayers that we've had in the game that we just never use, which is Rapid Restore and Rapid Heal. So what I'd like to see from a boss is a prayer that buffs these to not 2 times, but 4x restore rate for both of these. So it's a very simple change. The reason I'm even addressing these 2 prayers is because they're literally never used. And if there was a drop that it made them a little bit better, who knows? Maybe they would be used. Maybe if Rapid Heal really was 4x, which still is not that crazy, it would just make it so it's every 15 seconds you're healing 1 HP. Maybe people would camp it for certain content. It would almost be like just a passive heal that actually kind of does something. Rapid Heal currently is just absolute dog shit. And so doubling that would be, a little bit of a help. And I think it would be cool if there was a scroll that just buffed these 2 prayers that you could, get from a drop or buy it on the Grand Exchange and just get these prayers buffed. So that's another idea. I wouldn't actually be opposed to actually making a buff for Preserve as well and including them in these 3, making Preserve not only 50% longer, but 100% longer. So literally just doubling the duration of most things, which, could see some use. I think that would be kind of cool, but I'm really okay with it just being these 2 heart prayers. Okay, the other prayer idea or little scroll idea I was thinking is, okay, so this is kind of you guys can talk about it if this is a good idea or not. I was thinking of just completely getting rid of Chivalry and replacing it with something else entirely, because as soon as you get Piety, nobody ever uses Chivalry. So again, Chivalry would still be a prayer unless you got this new scroll, and this scroll would change Chivalry into a new prayer. And the only reason really is just to get rid of a useless prayer down here and actually have it be something useful. So my idea was to have a scroll that changes Chivalry into a new prayer called Guardian. And what Guardian is just a super tanky prayer. So it doesn't have any offensive bonuses, but it would be 50% defense increase. So currently right now, Piety is 25%. This would be just a straight up 50. But on top of a 50% defense increase, it would also give 5% damage reduction on probably just range and melee sources. Maybe they could do it with Augury as well. Maybe they could do it with Mage as well. But I think I like Mage being the one that actually negates magic damage, and this one would be melee and range. So just a simple little 5% guaranteed damage reduction I think would be kind of cool. So it would just be a tank prayer, if you're really bad at the Inferno like I am and you just want to run south or run to the South Pillar, you could just pray some Guardian with some, pray Mage up and, it's just a prayer. That and the other cool thing is like just imagine you're fighting, I don't know, necks, for example. And now you have a little bit more engagement if you want to, where instead of doing walk unders, you could pray piety, and then when next is attacking you, you could pray chivalry, or sorry, not chivalry, it'd be guardian at that point. You just kind of go back and forth, and you'd get that extra little defense and that extra, damage reduction, 5%. So it wouldn't be much at all. Maybe they could round it up so if something does hit you like a 2, well, no, I say, I don't know. I don't know how the rounding up and down goes, but basically 5% is the general thing. Like if you're hit a 10, maybe that could reduce 1, which would technically be 10%. Maybe it rounds up that way, kind of. So anyway, that's an idea of mine, and it doesn't have to replace chivalry exactly. I just think it would look cleaner than having just another prayer way down here. I guess with prayer reordering, we could reorder stuff anyway, so that wouldn't be a problem. But it's mainly just to get rid of these like useless prayers that nobody really uses. So anyway, yeah. So judgment, chivalry, a buff to the new heart prayers would be another scroll, and the fourth one, and this one wouldn't be that crazy, but I was thinking what would be cool is giving redemption a little bit of a buff. So a scroll that makes redemption slightly better. So currently when redemption is procced, it heals you 24 HP. And I was thinking, what if there was a scroll that made redemption instead heal you 32 HP when it procs? So anyway, just a little bit of a nice little thing. I know redemption is used in a ton of different situations. Having a little bit of additional HP granted when it procs would be kind of cool. And also, if you ever use redemption with thieving, this would also just be a nice little boost of HP. So yeah, I was just thinking it would be kind of cool to give redemption a little bit of love. So anyway, yeah, that's like the 4 ideas is just judgment, guardian, the heart prayers, and redemption getting a little bit of love. So nothing's really drastically changing. I think that's kind of the point I'm getting at is just making some little small upgrades to the standard prayer book that would give it a little bit of love and just, give a little bit of value, like extra value to these Desert Treasure 2 bosses that are coming out. Also the augury change would just be changed regardless. That's something I would like to see where it's just 5% magic damage and 5% magic damage negation. So anyway, that would just happen. That wouldn't be a scroll necessarily. Maybe it could be a scroll if everybody wanted it. But yeah, these are my ideas. Now, I would love to hear what you guys have on offer that's floating through your guys' heads, what you think would be a good idea. Maybe I'll make just like a round 2 of this. If I get some good ideas in the comments, I could bring up your guys' ideas. I could show them off, and we could just have some further discussion. So anyway, thank you guys for listening as always. Hope you guys all having a great day. And yeah, peace out, guys. Take it easy.